What is up, guys? Caelum here with another replay analysis. This one once again requested by the r/LearnDota2 subreddit, a great place to go for learning material and guides if you want to get better at Dota. I'd recommend checking it out. This replay was requested by the Oracle here, Jinx, and he was just wondering what he can do better as a 1K support player. So what we're going to be looking at in his Oracle game is going to be his laning stage, as well as his positioning in team fights and just general map awareness as we move towards the later game. So the reason we're going to be looking at this is because in the lower MMR tiers, it's more important to work on the fundamentals, like warding, knowing what to do in the laning stage, knowing your positioning, because the less you die and the more efficient you are, the better you will be. So that's one of the big things that lower MMR players get wrong, is they don't utilize the map as efficiently, they don't move as efficiently, and they don't play as efficiently. So we're going to be looking at some of those things when we analyze this game. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so here we're just going to be watching his laning stage on 2x speed, and we're just going to talk about a few things that he's doing wrong or could be doing better. So as we can see, we're actually going to slow this down so we can talk about it a little better. There's no harassing going on. He's not harassing this anti-mage at all, and that's a very important thing that you need to do as a support. What's happening right now is you're just sitting behind your PA, and you're not harassing, and you're not pulling, you're not going to contest runes or anything, which, granted, you can't at this stage in the game, and you can't on the offlane very easily, so it's not like you have those options, but that's all you're doing sitting behind the PA is sapping XP. So you're not being very efficient here, you're not doing anything to help the PA. So you need to be constantly harassing this anti-mage, especially since he's paired with the Skywrath Mage. That makes it super hard for him to regain health in the early game. If we take a look at anti-mage, all he has is 4 tangos and a healing salve, the generic regen that should be taken to a lane. So really, if you can burn through all that, which you should be able to since nobody in this lane has any sort of healing spells, then anti-mage is kind of dead in the water. He'll be scared to come up to last hit, he'll be scared to go into the lane because he might die. And really, all you need to do is right-click him down. Like, you use your spells a couple times here to harass him, but, I mean, that's a lot of mana for not a whole lot of damage this early on. Not to mention, I mean, he's just going to come right back in lane. So you need to be constantly right-clicking this anti-mage, making sure to position yourself in a good spot. So if we just pause this real quick here, when anti-mage is last hitting around this area right in here, I'll put a circle in the replay. You want to be sitting on some of the sides, and I'll put some arrows or something to indicate where you want to be sitting, kind of where I'm circling with my mouse. You want to be in kind of this area so that you don't aggro the creeps, but you still hit anti-mage. And since Skywrath Mage is sitting over on the side of the trees here, you're probably going to want to be on the opposite side so Skywrath Mage can't even harass you. And that really would just prevent anti-mage from being as confident last hitting. If we bring up the last hits denies, anti-mage he's 8-0 right now, so he really hasn't been prevented from last hitting that much at all. So it's kind of just important to make sure you're always harassing their carry, especially in a lane like this where neither of these heroes have healing. It's very important to make sure you get through this base regen that they brought into lane as quick as possible. So if we just go to 2x speed again, we'll watch a bit more of it through. Another point I wanted to bring up was just that you have a very relaxed laning. Like I was saying earlier, you're not really doing much to harass except for when you're casting your spells. You're not contesting runes, you're not ganking mid, you're kind of just sitting behind the PA not doing much. So definitely work on some of that, being more active on the map. Like, obviously you couldn't really do it so well here, and now PA dies there, but there's nothing really that you could really do about that. You get the return kill on anti-mage, which is good. But as I was saying, you want to be more active on the map. Obviously, as I was saying, in this game you can't be because the PA basically needs you to be in lane to help her the entire time. But in other games, maybe your offlaner can hold the lane by themselves, in which case you're going to want to control runes, gank mid, do all that sort of stuff. Now, if we go really far ahead, like to about the 9-minute mark, here we go. So really quick, I want to point out we're at the 9-minute mark. You have not left the lane. That is not a good thing. Your team needs help around the map. and you have stayed in the bot lane the entire time. The problem with this is you are the majority of the healing on your team. You have a Necrophos, but he's not super fantastic. He's not as good at healing as you are. So your healing is definitely better used if you were to move around the map and help your team. There's also the fact that you have not bought another set of wards at this point in time. So, I mean, vision is king in this game. You need to have vision as much as possible. That was actually a really good place for that to happen, because like if you had wards, the most likely you would have been able to spot that PA with the wards, and then you wouldn't have died there. Also, you did not upgrade the courier. As a support, you should be buying the wards and upgrading the courier. Mirana had to upgrade the courier at like the 7-minute mark. I play support in like 95% of my games. You can upgrade the courier from the default courier to the flying courier at the 3-minute mark, and I would say in 75% of my games, I have the courier upgraded within 10 seconds of the 3-minute mark. So really strive to get that courier upgraded as fast as possible, and make sure you're buying wards. The first wards time out at the 6-minute mark, I believe. Yes, the 6-minute mark. So you're going to want to make sure you've at least bought some more wards by the 6-minute mark. Alright, so just to reinforce the wards point that I was talking about earlier, here's a great example of why wards are important, and here's also another thing I want to point out about positioning to you. So if we watch this through here, the first thing we should all recognize is there are no wards in this area. You have a ward by the rune over here, which is kind of decent. It watches the jungle, it watches the side of Roshan here. It's okay at best. It's not super fantastic. So if we go to the dire vision only, we can see that the ward, I guess it does see the rune, so it's okay. But you're watching your jungle and the rune spot. This ward up here, also watching your jungle, as well as the lane a little bit here. So it's not too fantastic. You're being very aggressive here. You just want to fight and you're pushing with your team. So ideally, you want to ward right here at this point to scout out behind the tower and all the way down here in the river. You can place it from right here at the bottom of the steps, so that's a good thing to know that you can place it from there so you get all this vision without having to walk into here. But so there's no appropriate ward for you to push this here. You only see one hero on the map, being the Skywrath Mage, and actually he's smoked, so you don't even see him. It says you see him on the minimap, but you don't actually. So you see no heroes on the map, and you're pushing. Which, not terrible, but you should definitely be more careful. So if we continue on, you get dueled. So, a couple ways that we could have avoided this. Number one, your support. You shouldn't be this close to your carries. The carries are going to push the tower. The tower has like 61 health. The tower is 61 health. There's no reason for you to be clicking down the tower. You should have stayed farther back. You knew at this point in time Legion had the blink dagger, and you are your team's main heal and disable. So you shouldn't be right up next to your carries. You should be back prepared to heal the carries or cast your false promise should they get initiated on. But instead, you're up next to the carries, so Legion Commander is able to single you out because they know that you're the main disable, the main heal on your team. So if we just keep watching this, you're going to get killed. And then they go on the rest of your team. Mirana is also eventually going to die. Now, if we just keep watching this through, your team does manage to trade and make it a 2-for-2 trade here, which is good, but it's because the other team overextended. If this team had been smart, they would have backed off here, said, okay, we got what we wanted, and just backed off. But, I mean, as you can see, they dive in, and that's where they make their mistake. But, just to reiterate the main point of this, aggressive vision for when you're pushing is very good, and making sure that you have correct positioning. You should have been positioned probably farther back here where the Skywrath and Legion Commander are right now, so Legion Commander could not have blink dueled you. And if she did blink duel one of your carries, you have Fate's Edict and False Promise to both cast on them to basically prevent the duel from doing anything. So just make sure you're not in danger when you don't have to be. So here we are at the 21:37 minute mark, as you can see by the clock. We're going to pause real quick because this happens pretty fast. Just another thing I want to point out, no wards. Now this time your positioning, it didn't really matter where you were positioned. You'd get killed here, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. The Legion Commander just targeted you because you were the easiest takedown in that group. But you didn't have any wards. If you had wards up, you might have been able to see them rotating through here. Like if you had a rune ward over here, you might have been able to see them rotating in through here, and you guys could have backed off. But I mean, you don't have wards. That's just another really important thing that low-level supports don't do. They don't buy wards. Vision wins games. If you don't have vision, then you can't see the enemy team, and you can't predict what they're doing, and you can't respond to what they're doing. When you have vision, you see where the enemy team is moving. You can appropriately move yourself to stay out of danger, or you could appropriately move your team to take advantage of the enemy's movement. Wards win games. It's simple as that. Just make sure you have wards up and make sure they're up as much as possible. I know buying wards constantly as a support sucks because you feel like you're not getting the items you need, and you're not getting basically you're not getting the items you need. You're not doing as much as you can because you don't have items. But trust me, supports are built to function around their spells. Most of them. Most supports are built to function around their spells. Oracle especially. His spells are so insanely strong. You can sacrifice some of that gold you spent on Force Staff and those early Arcane Boots for some more wards. Trust me, you will win more games if you ward efficiently. So this is a fight I wanted to look at real quick. I wanted to point out some of the good things you did. Whether you meant it or not, you had some good positioning in this fight, so I do want to point that out, because this entire game wasn't bad. There were definitely a few good points of this game. Now, that's being said, there are still a few mistakes in this engagement, and we'll go through those as well, but I really want to point out the positives. So let's pause it right here. You are right here. So I feel like you definitely could have false promised the Invoker, and that would have been a good play, keeping him alive. It doesn't happen, which is okay in the end, but if you could have kept him alive, that would have been far better. So Anti-Mage comes in from the top, he's attacking the Necrophos, and you immediately back up and help the Necrophos, but you stay out of harm's way of everything. So I like that. This is good positioning. The only problem with this is you don't heal the Necrophos, so he will end up dying. Now, you had a Force Staff, but you didn't use it. The second you saw the Anti-Mage was focused on the Necrophos up here, it would have been great if you could have Force Staff through these trees and started healing him. I mean, you know, hindsight is 20/20. That's a lot to do in a short amount of time, but that was good positioning either way. Getting out, being able to heal your teammates in here, but still being safe down behind this tree line. Like I said, the only thing you could have done better is if you would have used your mobility to get up here and heal the Necrophos a bit more than you did. But other than that, it was a decent fight in terms of positioning. So the point I want to make here is smart movement. You just warded here. So we're going to look at the dire vision here in a second. Actually, let's just go ahead and do that right now. So dire vision. Now let's see what you can see on the map with these wards. They're not bad wards. This one, arguably not useful. This one you just placed, definitely useful. That's a good aggressive ward for pushing. So, as of right now, you can see the Legion Commander who just killed your Mirana, and nothing else. So the smart thing to do, since you don't know where the enemy team is, would be to move up this path towards the rune and away from potential danger. But instead, let's watch and see what you do. You and the Necrophos walk into the mid lane, even after seeing the Skywrath Mage here. Monkey King flies in the tree, and now it's too late. They initiate on you, and you guys both die. So we're back at the beginning of this with these beautiful tree physics in effect. No idea what's going on there. Huge gale force winds, I guess. So you guys walk into the mid. I just want to reiterate this. You walk into the mid and get initiated on and die. So you didn't see any of these heroes there. And the middle lane at this point is pretty dangerous for a support and Necrophos to be in this area. So it's not very smart for you guys to be walking blindly into the mid lane where you didn't really see anyone. So remember to move, have smart movement. Recognize where the enemy could be and move away if you're not prepared for them, or towards if you want to fight them. In this case, you two weren't prepared, so you should have moved away. you saw the Legion commander, excuse me, over here. So it would have been smart to theorize that the rest of the team is over in this area somewhere. You saw the Skywrath Mage appear here for just a split second, but you should have seen it still, right in here. But you had no idea where the rest of the team was. You have this ward, so you'd be able to see if anyone's coming from up here, which Anti-Mage eventually does. But this is your danger zone in here, where you don't have any vision. So walking into the mid lane here was not really a good play. So the main point of this smart movement, make sure you're not walking into dangerous areas. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Just a quick recap of what we went over. In the laning stage, make sure you're harassing and not just sapping XP. Also, make sure you're buying your support items, wards and upgrading the courier. Wards win games. Make sure you're paying attention to the map with the wards too so you can see the enemy movements. In teamfights, make sure you're having good positioning, and also make sure you have smart positioning and smart movement. I hope you guys learned something. Thanks for watching. Once again, this was a replay requested by the Learn Dota 2 subreddit. Go there for all your Dota 2 learning needs. It's really fantastic for any new players, or even people who think they may have nothing left to learn. It's a great learning tool for everybody in the Dota community. So this has been Caelum with another replay analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.